Hey there, this is Jexy with the Systems Alliance. In this video, I want to go over Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and the lack of features they're putting in, and somehow they're calling that an advancement. So back in the day, Infinity Ward was the good developer, and they were the ones who were producing Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and Modern Warfare 2. Whereas Treyarch was the ones who came in between and made generally the subpar games with the subpar storylines. Well, now it's pretty much just Treyarch moving forward with Activision. And when they released the video, it was a little bit weird. They had stuff on the Titanic, they had stuff in Gladiators. Like, what am I even playing anymore? I used to play those Modern Warfare games because they were realistic. Then they started going into future stuff. Then they started adding zombies, which I get it. A lot of people like the zombie mode, but it's just copying Horde mode from Gears of War. So if I really wanted a Horde mode, I'd play Gears of War. I wouldn't need to play zombie mode, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It seems to be a common mode of just hordes of enemies coming at you, no matter what game you get now. They have it in Halo as well. But it's going a little further away from that realistic setting that we were used to. So there was some news before, and there were many reports saying how the team was working on a single-player campaign mode, as they always have, and that they were having to scrap it, possibly due to lack of time. They were having some difficulty with it, but they were at one point working very hard on a campaign mode. Then we come to find out that they're scrapping the campaign mode, and they're saying the reason is no one plays the campaign modes anymore. They're saying people only play multiplayer when they buy a Call of Duty game. And so now they're trying to spin it like this is a step forward in innovation because they're putting some narrative stuff in with the multiplayer modes. No, you just ran out of time and you didn't do it. Also, it's expensive to do. You actually have to have talented voice actors, you have to render all the environments, you have to do all these things for a campaign. But is it true? Do people really not play campaign anymore? I'll go into that a little bit more. But for them to say it's innovative that they're doing this, I'm not buying that at all. That's complete BS. On top of that though, of course, they're putting in a battle royale mode. Why? Because it's what's hot right now. Because it's what makes money right now. With PUBG and Fortnite, this is where the money is at right now. This is where all the players are flocking to. And I will give them this. If they are doing it the way that they're showing in their trailers, it might be pretty cool. It seems a lot more extensive than what PUBG and Fortnite have. It seems like the maps are going to be absolutely massive, and you can use vehicles, you can have ships, tanks, airplanes, whatever it is in it. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. I would be pretty impressed with that if they were able to pull that off. But that's also easy to make. That's why Fortnite was able to do it. It's a free-to-play game. They're able to do it because it's cheap, and so they're really cheating the fans on this one. Activision and Treyarch are trying to tell you that everything now is innovative. But in reality, it's just taking away elements of a game you used to have and adding in another that other games have so it can copy them. To me, that's not innovation. Actually, to no one, that's innovation. By no definition of innovation is what they're doing with the Call of Duty franchise innovation. Now, of course, many people have said, hey, the franchise is getting stale as it is. They need to do something to spice it up, which is fine. But don't take away things and say that's spicing it up. That's just lying. If you go to the Call of Duty restaurant and all you normally get is the 3-course meal, and they take one of the courses away and then replace it with an extra drink, that's not innovation. That's just switching one thing out for the other. So there's a reporter with Eurogamer who's interviewing Dan Bunting of Treyarch regarding the single-player campaign, or rather lack thereof. He says, I understand there was a campaign you worked on that was scrapped. What challenges did you face in the development of it, and what ultimately led to the decision to ditch it? Dan Bunting responds, going back to the very beginning of Black Ops 4 development, we never had set out to make a traditional campaign. We always started from the place of, we're going to make something different with this game that was going to be inspired by how our community was interacting with Black Ops 3 and the games over the years. We see more and more players spending more time with multiplayer and zombies, not just in the game, but out of the game, streaming and talking about it in forums. It's generated a really huge crowd response. The decision was we wanted to make a different style of game this time. As I said from previous reports, we know that that's not true. Polygon sources said as Black Ops 4's release date approached, it became evident that development on the single-player campaign wouldn't be completed. Since then, according to Polygon sources that have been continuously correct in the past, developer Treyarch has focused on expanding multiplayer in the zombies mode. There's also an emphasis on co-op modes as a potential stand-in for the typical single-player campaign experience. This tallies with information Eurogamer received about development of Black Ops 4 back in February. Then our sources indicated Treyarch scrapped the game's campaign in the early part of 2018 to focus on multiplayer. Now, because the reporter knew this, he asked Dan Bunting again. Just to be clear, you're saying there was never a traditional campaign? And Dan Bunting responded, there was never a traditional campaign. We've always wanted to tell stories in different ways. We've always wanted to celebrate our community, especially how you play the game with friends. I hate to say it, and I hate to use the word, but at this point, Dan Bunting is obviously lying. And I'm not quite sure why. I'm not sure if he thinks that gamers are stupid, but we're not, and we're calling you out, and we see through it. So he says, when I first started on multiplayer in the Call of Duty franchise, 10% of our population was playing co-op multiplayer, he said. Fast forward to 2015 or 2016, you're looking at 90% of our players are playing multiplayer. If you look at it through that lens and trying to deliver more for your players and how you're playing the game, it's a pretty easy decision. I realize it's also a challenging decision for other reasons, but we've never been ones to shy away from a challenge. I feel like what he's saying is the complete opposite. One, where'd you get your numbers? We'll go into that a little bit later just to see how wrong those numbers are. But two, a challenge would be to complete the game. They gave up on that challenge. It's not a challenge to create a battle royale mode. Maybe the one they're doing is a little bit more challenging than normal, but it's certainly not as challenging as a campaign mode. You actually have to write for that. You have to have your voice actors for that. You have to render all the environments for that. They're taking the easy way out. They are shying away from a challenge. So if you go onto the website psnprofiles.com, you can search up people's actual achievements. So let's take a look. There's an achievement called Long Way from Texas, Complete D-Day. So a little over 50% of people have completed this, and it's just the first act in the campaign. Next is Buck Private. Get 10 kills in multiplayer while playing online. So a little less than 65% of people have gotten 10 or more kills playing online. Now, 10 kills isn't really hard to get. Either you're the worst player in the world, or you simply just don't play it. Most likely, you're just not really playing it if you're that other 35%. So the other 35% who are playing it, if they're not playing multiplayer, they must be part of the 50% of people who are playing the campaign. And if you go and ask any employee of any store who sells games, you'll find out that it's pretty common for people to not want anything multiplayer related. They don't even need, Xbox Live or, the PSN service to play online. They just want to play the campaign because it's fun. I mean, they've had some great campaigns. You could say they haven't been as great lately, but Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and Modern Warfare 2, those were great campaigns. So there's a couple other stats I want to show you as well. There's the trophy for To the End. Complete the campaign. Almost 25% of people, a quarter of the people who play Call of Duty, have completed the entire campaign. Whereas General of the Army, which is getting Prestige 1 in multiplayer, which is pretty standard if you play any sort of amount of multiplayer, is only at 21%. So in terms of hours and how long it takes to get there, people are definitely playing the campaign just as much as they're playing the multiplayer. Steam also tracks these achievements as well. And if you look at their data, they're pretty similar. On Steam, 71.6% of people get through the first campaign achievement, Long Way from Texas. So even much higher than on PS4. Whereas players who complete the campaign on Steam is 38%. So once again, higher than PS4, but still a significant number. As far as playing online though, multiplayer PC, 66% of people play online, so a little bit less, about 5% less than play or at least start the campaign on PC. And only 15.4% of the people end up getting Prestige 1, which is far less than half of those who complete the campaign. So sorry, but I gotta call BS once again on their reasoning. Look, if they had just come out and said the truth, which you're never going to do. The truth is they need to get these games out on the right quarter for their investors, and that's how their gaming is. It's not based on whether the game should be good or finished or done well or completed right. It has to do with, let's get this out as fast as we can on the date we need to for our investors so we can hit our targets. I mean, note that they're never really delaying games, which is pretty common in the industry if a game needs more time. But if they had just said, hey, we need to hit our release date, we're not going to be able to hit our release date if we try to implement a single player campaign. Maybe we'll add it later for you guys as free DLC that because it should have come with the game in the first place. Sorry about that, but don't worry, you're going to get it. Meantime, have fun with our new Battle Royale mode. They could have done that, but they didn't. And why didn't they? Because it's easier to make up stories and cut out something that would cost a good amount of money and instead replace it with something that is the new hot ticket right now, which is Battle Royale mode, just like PUBG, just like Fortnite. Sure, they're going to have their own spin on it, but really what I'm doing here is just calling them out. There's no reason why they had to lie about it. They could have just told the truth and we would have been like, well, that sucks, but I get it. But once again, they can't be truthful. So when I'm looking at this game compared to Battlefield 5, I'm liking Battlefield 5 a lot better. Sure, maybe a Battle Royale mode might be fun, but I like playing campaigns. And I guess I won't be able to do that on Call of Duty. So let me know what you think. Are you the type who would want a campaign? Sounds like at least 35% of people only play the campaign. Never mind all the people who play the campaign and multiplayer. You know, I like to do both. But I would at least like to have a choice of which one I want to pick up when I pop the game in or when I turn it on. With this news, will you be going with Battlefield over Call of Duty for your first-person realistic shooter type game? Although I'm not sure how realistic battles on the Titanic or Gladiator are with Call of Duty. But for me personally, I think I might go Battlefield, which is insane because Activision is with Blizzard. I love StarCraft, Warcraft, all that stuff. That's Blizzard. Blizzard is now with Call of Duty. When you go on Battle.net, now you see Call of Duty? I never thought, that just seems weird to me. Just seems weird. And the fact that I would pick an EA game over that, I don't know what's going on anymore. But like I said, let me know what your thoughts are, and we'll see you next time.